Again, I'm Shekhar. I'm with Auto Anderson Engineering. So Rich, with Carson Valley Conservation District, was not able to be here today. The weather is turning nice, so he wants to go play, I guess. So he couldn't be here, and he wanted me to make sure that we present for him. And whenever a client asks for it, you just do it, right? For those of you who are consultants, that's how it works. But no, not really. I think he's actually out there with his crew right now to do the bioengineering for the recent projects that we just did. A lot of seeding and willows planting and whatnot. So he's really busy doing that. So, Shane, thanks for letting me change the slides a little bit here. For some reason, I thought we were presenting on yesterday. So thank you for that. So it's a give and take, right? So anyway, I'm not going to bore you guys with all the causes of riverbank failures. And we have some great presentations before here. I think you generally understand why the riverbanks fail. Basically, it's a natural process. That's how it works. And part of the reason I think it works is I think Shane mentioned to me when we started looking into these projects in early 1950s, the Army Corps engineer went ahead and just straightened this some of these reaches of the river. And obviously, if you lose meanders in the river, that's what's going to happen. So the hydraulic energy needs to dissipate somehow, and it will start taking the river banks. As you can see on this slide, this is one of the sites that we did. This is most upstream project site. And I have a great slides how we went from this vertical cut banks, which is about 12 to 15 feet vertical cut banks, to nice gentle 3-to-1 slopes with a lot of riprap. So I know the previous projects they had a lot of bioengineering methods and non-structural methods, but most of our slides are structural measures combined with some bioengineering. So to please agency people, I guess we try to put some bioengineering methods. And I guess part of the reason here is, we don't have a lot of vegetation on our river banks, especially through Carson River. It just doesn't really grow much here. You can't expect to have these river banks to have nice looking vegetation that you would see, elsewhere in the country. So obviously that's a problem here. And we, like I said, we have most of our projects implemented structural measures with some bioengineering methods, as you can see in later slides. And again, I'm not going to go through all this, but traditionally, as engineers, the first thing that comes to our mind to stabilize anything that's failing is riprap it, the banks, right? So that works pretty good, but and you need to have gently sloped banks too. So you don't want to have steep banks, and it's very hard to even put riprap. And then also the bioengineering methods, they won't really work very well if it is very steep. It's very hard to install to begin with. And so like I said, most of our projects included a lot of riprap that you will see in the slides from here on. But we did manage to sneak some bioengineering methods. You will see those here in a few slides. So this is the overall picture of, I believe we have about 8 to 10 sites that we Rich identified that he wanted to fix. And he thought he was overachiever. He thought he's going to build all these projects in just with one contract. So he came to us, hey, we need to fix this. Then we got in touch with Shane here. He actually helped us with his drone surveys for all these sites. Thank you for that. And then we also try to get with the brand new drone you got. I remember this. You were trying to get us nice topo elevations, and some places it worked, some places as it really didn't work very well. So we had to send our survey crew back, and get some real elevations and something that we could use a topo for our design purposes. But the images were great. In fact, the very first image that I put on the slide, that was actually given by Shane. So that helped us generally see where the river banks are failing, and take those into the field with Carson Valley Conservation District and other partners, kind of walk the site and figure out which sites we really need to focus on first. And like I said, we had to prioritize these. We couldn't build all these 10 sites or 8 to 10 sites in one contract because of the funding availability and whatnot. So we chose we categorized these into 3 different phases. So in fact, we started with 2. We thought we could just build in 2 phases, and we had the first thing we did is geomorphological study. Carol, she's sitting in the back here with Wildscape Engineering. She helped us kind of walk the sites and give some recommendations which part of the river we should be focusing on first from geomorphology standpoint. And then we also met with the landowners and see which sites are really, really bad, and kind of figure out what our priorities are. The overall goal, obviously, is use a combination of traditional riprap methods combined with the bioengineering methods to stabilize these river banks. So in some places, the river migrated about 50 feet into the adjacent landowners' properties, and obviously there's a problem for pasture. There's not much pasture, and agriculture uses was impacted. So they were happy that Carson Valley Conservation District was able to find some funding and get these banks fixed. So this is just a zoom in slide, essentially, with for those of you who like to see the aerial image in the background, and you can see color-coded sites. So this is what you need, Shane. Phase 1 is about 2,630 linear feet. Phase 2, blue, that's about 1,960 feet. So basically, we combined all the individual sites. That's the length of the river banks that we stabilized under that phase. And phase 3, we're estimating about 2,400 linear feet. We're in the design phase right now. We're expecting to go into construction late in September, October. Again, basically, we're trying to establish meander bends in the river as much as we can to dissipate that hydraulic energy that the river carries, so it doesn't cut into the banks. And the idea is to connect the river channel to the adjacent floodplain, which is also referred to as living river approach in CWSD documents. You see a lot. So we're trying to mimic that. So the river can, during the high flows, it can access the floodplain. Like I said, we use fluvial geomorphological studies to come up with which sites fit into which phase. Generally, we try to go from downstream to upstream, but there are some really bad sites we had to really take care of in phase 1. So that's why you see this scattered all around. So I'd like to thank the project partners. These are the funding partners, essentially. NDEP, obviously CWSD, Division of Water Resources, and Douglas County specifically wanted to mention this. During phase 1, we included 4 different sites, and then we got the design done. We went through the bid process, and we quickly realized the contractors were not hurting. So our bids came really high, and we just couldn't build all the 4 sites. And Rich went to Douglas County. The Courtney just walked in. So he was able to convince her to use their crew to go and fix one of the project sites, which is, there was really not much structural measures on that. So just reshaping the bank and installing some bioengineering, which, Rich Group was able to manage. But thank you, Douglas County and Courtney, for getting that. And also landowners, they pitched in as much as they can. In some cases, we had a one site, Hallbrook, that is just upstream of Cradlebaugh Bridge. The landowner donated riprap. I believe he's a partner at one of the quarries, so that helped with the project cost. And in some places where we have the fence just basically falling apart, they were able to just take it down, and just once we're done, they went back and put the fence backup, so cattle don't go and feed on the new willows and other vegetation that we're trying to establish. So that is a lot of help. This is a typical scope of work that we use, river reach assessment and geomorphological studies. It's about 8 weeks we estimated, and again we used wildscape engineering. Carol team came out early in the process and gave us a report. Basically, we used to figure out which sites are the first ones to go. Then we walked the sites with Rich and his team and other funding partners in DEP, and like I said, we did a drone survey. For the phase 1, we used Shane. He helped us, and for phase 2, we decided to have our own drone surveys for the firm. So we just used our drones, and it worked out pretty good. So we didn't have to send our survey crew, during the high flows sometimes. So that was very helpful. And engineering design, we designed all these sites, all the 8 to 10 sites, conceptual level. We presented to the client, and we got some review comments, and then we decided to just concentrate on the 2 or 4 projects that we wanted to build in phase 1, and we took those to 60 to 90% to obviously construction documents and solicited bids, helped our client with the selection process, and we went into construction, and we provided the construction stakeouts as they asked for. And once done, we did punch list for the sites and prepared as-built drawings that the client is required to submit to NDEP to close the projects, basically. And I showed this slide before, but these are some of most of these structural measures, like I said before. These are the ones that we used for these sites, and you will see some pictures. Basically, a lot of riprap on the regraded banks and the rock toe just along the entire length of the river banks where we are putting this riprap. We had to dig like 3 to 5 feet deep so that the banks don't get washed away. And the stream barbs, those work very efficiently. I have seen those, and those are actually my favorites. They work really, really good. So log means that kind of, someone came up with a great idea to please everyone, nature-loving people. Just basically it's a stream bar, but it's a big log, covered with the rocks. You will see those pictures here soon. Just wanted to show you this. I don't know if you can see it clearly, but this is a typical cross-section, how we approach these bank stabilization projects. And the next slide actually shows, yeah, this is a much better slide. So as you can see, the riprap, certain sections we have about 10 to 12 feet high, right? We can't really go that high with the riprap because of the funding limitations, and no one wants to see all riprap on the banks. So we stay about 3 to 4 feet, basically just above the bank for discharge elevations. And like I said, this is the trench that I was talking about. We found it very important to dig down at least 3 to 5 feet, so we don't lose the work that we did. And we have some specifications for riprap that we used, class 700 in the stream bed, and 500 to 300 on the river banks itself. So when we go to construction, obviously best management practices, we have the contractor install these. Dust control wasn't really a big problem because most of these projects were kind of remote, not anywhere close to any subdivisions or anything like that. So we didn't really have to worry about that very much. And obviously fencing around the sensitive resources such as wetlands or trees. So accidentally construction crew go there and just disturb those areas. And we try to work during the dry periods as far as the construction is concerned. And sometimes it happens. In November, December, we had just big flood. I will show you one slide. We were in the construction, we were almost done half of the site, and then we just got this flood in January. and December, January. So we kind of shut down, and we had to basically install a relief channel to get all the floodwaters away from this area so we can work. You will see that picture here soon. A lot of silt fencing, as you can imagine, dewatering, like I said. Oh, other way around, sorry. So clear and broad, and the slide to the right, you'll see it looks messy. Yeah, we have still a lot of water in the river when we're working. But once you put this dewatering channel, then for the most part, close to the river banks where we're working, at least was dry, relatively, I would say. The construction crew was able to go there and do the work without dropping a lot of sediment in the river, which goes downstream. It's not a good thing for anyone. We also had to breach some irrigation control structures. If you have been along the Carson River, you will see it was an alpine decree. They have a water rights to divert surface water, and they have this irrigation control structures they install, and we had to breach those so that the water will just go down downstream, so it's not too deep where we're working. And then when we're done, we'll just go back and fix those irrigation control structures. Like I said, we dug about minimum 3 feet deep trench along the new toe. So we installed this big rock, so it gives some stability to the new improvements that we're putting in. And then comes the shaping the riverbanks. We try to stay 3-to-1, but in some places it was not possible. For instance, there's one project where, when we first started designing it, everything was just fine. We thought we could do 3-to-1. But then as the project progressed, the landowner wanted to build this big barn, and he had right next to the river, he had this fiber optics line, new road, the underground electric very next to the river bank. So if we were to go 3-to-1, at 12 feet or 15 feet, we're cutting back about 30 to 40 feet. We'll just take away his newly put in road and other utilities. So we had to adjust a little bit in the field. Yeah, this is the slide that I was talking about. You'll see, I don't know if you can see the road right on the bank, the newly installed the bank. That is where the new road went, and the utilities, underground electric and fiber optic cables. We didn't want it to take those away or move those. So we had to just adjust our slopes 2-to-1, even 1.5-to-1. Rich wasn't really happy about that, because he said, my crew cannot go and install the bioengineering methods if you do that steep. So he wasn't really happy, but there's really not much we can do. So you will see here the stream. Well, these are actually log beams. Like I said, those were big logs, about 2 to 3 feet diameter, logs about 40 to 50 feet long. They were installed, facing upstream. I think I have another better picture of that, a detailed picture. So it's about 30 to 45 degrees pointing upstream. Those are very helpful. Sorry, I keep going back. These are rock refusal trenches that we use. And I'm sorry, this picture is not a very good picture because you really can't see. I think it looks like a plan view. So if I went in the river and took a picture, it would have been really nice looking up the bank, but I just didn't want it to get wet, I guess, when I took this picture. So, but you can see your profile on the section. So basically it's about 5 feet wide, all the way, goes from the stream bed up to the bank. So just upstream and downstream, we try to put these, but because of the funding limitations, we had to take the downstream one off of our plans because they wanted to save some money, which was okay, because the most important thing is to have the upstream rock refusal trench that helps protect these new improvements. And like I said, this is my favorite, and I have seen this. Which showed me a lot of pictures when he was with Deer Valley Conservation District over the years. And some of the pictures he showed me is when they were installed, you will see all riprap. But then over the years, the vegetation takes over as the river flow gets in, sediment drops out. and then it will eventually will have some vegetation. But like I said, this should be angled upstream about 30 to 45 degrees from the new toe. And these were, like I said, basically these are rock stream barbs, but with a log vein, just to please nature-loving people, I guess. The key with this is, and we almost lost one of these logs after we installed the most upstream project. Like I said, we had this big flood in December, late December, and we were, through the middle of. Actually, this is the same project. Yeah, this is the one that we lost. So we got this big flood, and the contractor, I believe, obviously we weren't there every single day to watch, right? So you were supposed to put big rocks under these logs first, and then cover these mostly downstream, because we don't want this flow to take away these logs. And I don't believe they had big rocks put in before they installed these logs. And as it got a big flood, it just took away some of the sediment, and then these rocks actually got sunk, and then this was exposed. So we were worried that we're going to lose those, and we had to do a change order with them and get those fixed. Yeah, there was a. But they work very well as long as they're installed correctly. And they also use ductile anchors to anchor these so that they don't float away. So that's one of the things you need to remember if you're doing this. Put a lot of rock around, mostly downstream, so we don't want those to be washed. And these are bioengineering methods. They said we haven't really used much, but just to please everyone, we try to do some of these willows, plantings. And once the contractor is done, then Rich will have his team go out there and just do this coir fabric mats, live plants, basically seeding the top of the banks. Obviously, when you have the construction vehicles going around, you make all kinds of mess. So we try to restore so that the landowners are happy. Put a lot of seeding, willows. I just wanted to show some of the pictures. And this cattle bar was not part of this phase 1, phase 2, phase 3 projects that I just showed. This was done in 2019. This is actually one of the first projects I did with Rich. Just want to give credit to Jeremy. He did a lot of work before me for our farm, worked with the Carson Valley Conservation District. I kind of took over through the middle of this project planning. So then, he went on to become county engineer. So I took on these projects. But this is one of the first projects I worked on with the Carson Valley Conservation District. And I don't know if you can clearly see, if we zoomed in, you will see those really steep banks. And you can see it was taken away most of the land, and also fence, everything was hanging. So it was really bad. On this particular site, because I believe this was 15 to 20 feet at certain locations. We're going like 60 feet back into the property. So we try to minimize that. We installed some of the benches and kind of slow. It's not that steep. And this is just downstream of Cradle Bar Bridge. So Mitch, we gave you a lot of conveyance for you, so you need to go and update your models, your mapping. So, but basically provide a lot of conveyance around this area, so slows velocity down and it helps, hopefully helps the river banks at this location. So just to give some numbers, about 1,000 linear feet of bank stabilization work that we did at this particular location, and about 2,240 cubic yards of on-site earth movement. There's a lots of moving trucks. The engineer's estimate was about $160,000. Again, this was in 2019. So we got the bids about $200,000 on this one. So it's it's not terribly bad. This is Hallbrook. This is just a little bit upstream of Cradle Bar Bridge, before the, I guess, Indian reservation lands. And this is about 825 linear feet of bank stabilization project. And you can see, this is the one that I was referring to. So these are steep banks, and the landowner decided to put in some, big rocks so that he doesn't lose the newly installed road. And right next to the those big boulders, he put in the underground electric, fiber optics, and all kinds of stuff. So we had to change the design a little bit, went with steeper bank slopes. But you will see those three pictures before, during construction. Actually, I think they were about done. And then is that the last picture, the bottom picture was taken very recently. You can see, vegetation taking over. So that's good. This is another site, and this is the one Douglas County helped stabilize this portion. This is about 1,200 linear feet, Courtney. So the Douglas County crew went and fixed this river bank, basically reshaping the bank. No real no riprap on this, just reshaping the bank and just putting the bioengineering methods. This is another site. Just wanted to show you, how the project looks like after a couple of years. And yet another one. So as you can see to the left, smoky, Carson skies. So those were taken, last year, and this is this year. And this is the project, most upstream project in Running River. And again, this picture was taken by Shane, the left one, during when you did the drone service. Yeah, this is the one that we got through. Half of the project was built, and then we got this big flood, and they were like scrambling. We almost lost one of the log beams, and there's still a lot of water, and contractor couldn't go and finish his work. His all equipment is just staged there. So we decided to punch a relief channel just a little upstream where you see those trees on the left bank. And one of the things we realized is, well, obviously we didn't fill the relief channel. It's about 1,000 linear feet, and they were told to plug that so the river water doesn't go through the relief channel. So we go back after a couple of weeks, and we see a lot of water going. It's not going in the river anymore; it's just going the other way around. So we realized they didn't compact it well. Not basically didn't put some rock at least to stabilize that newly put in fill. We had to go back and get that fixed. So those are the things that we had to deal with. If you're not there, every single day watching what's happening, I guess. And this is yet another one on this site. For whatever reason, we showed three logs, but the contractor didn't move one of the logs. He just had only two, and he decided to just stream barb it. So, we noted this on our as-built, which is fine. He's going to use that the next phase. Again, smoky skies to the left, before and after. I think we put about 4 log beams on this project. And the project budget. So like I said, we thought about doing in 2 phases. We just couldn't do it. Phase 1, about 2,600 linear feet. The engineer's estimate was about $400,000. The lowest bid we got was $365,000. Verdict was the contractor. That was done in 2020. In the phase 2, we just finished this, and Richie is busy, stabilizing those banks with the bioengineering methods as we speak here. And it's about $500,000 our estimate. And bids came, the lowest responsive bid was about $478,000 from Coons. And we're estimating about $600,000 for the last portion of the project, which would be built later this year. That's it. Again,